evening, ladies and gentlemen, and you're tuned into the I.M.A.G.E show on 89.3 KJMC, the heart and soul of the city. And for those of you joining us by YouTube, we want to say continue to subscribe. We've got some great guests in the house this evening. We've also got my co-host that I was able to find is Ken Silver. He's in the house with us. We've also got I.M.A.G.E and we've got Bobby. And these two kids are from prospects from the Des Moines Wilkie House after school program. So Ken Silver, it's a pleasure to have you back in the house with us.
Good to be back. It's been way too long since I've been here, and I've missed it quite a bit, so I'm really glad to be back. You know, we look at the news around here, we watch the TV, and all we see is young kids shooting each other. Too many homicides that involve young teenagers, and we started out, what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? And unfortunately, a lot of it is black kids shooting black kids. And there's kind of a theme goes around that talks about black on black killing. Well, as I found out, it's not just black on black, it's white on white. And we've got way too many homicides around the country in total. Unfortunately, too high a percentage of them involve black people. And we're trying to take a look at that and also take a look what causes young kids to go out and get a gun and go out and shoot somebody when they're 13 or 14 years old. And why are they losing their temper? Is this because they're mad? Is it because they're trying to get more money? Does it involve drugs? What's the story? And we got a few statistics that just scare us to death. And we thought we'd get these young experts here tonight and talk to them a little bit about what they see from and hear from some of their friends. So, guys, tell me, when you're in school, does any of your classmates talk about killing somebody or being mad at somebody or having guns and stuff like that?
Mostly not, but they mostly get mad at each other.
I mean, not for me, for a fifth grader.
Do you talk to the older kids much, 14, 15-year-olds? Or?
No.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's my sister and brother.
Same.
Would you ever do anything like that? Can you imagine yourself getting mad enough to get a gun and go shoot somebody?
I don't think I'll have that in my future.
Tell me something. Why do you think you wouldn't do something like that? Why do you think that's wrong?
I think it's wrong because a lot of souls can be dead. And I don't like seeing dead bodies.
Kind of what you were taught at home, right? I think what we're finding out is a lot of the young people that don't have a good home life, maybe don't have two parents, don't have one parent that has a lot of time, why, they just ignored. And so they end up not getting taught right, and then they go out and do bad things.
Yeah,
Are you getting dressed?
No. It looks like the producer over there is telling me that there was something there on my shoulder, brush something off. Anyway, I think that these kids here, you know, we know that they're the future, Ken, and so, I mean, it's amazing to go to work and to work with these individuals. First of all, Bobby, over here. How old are you, Bobby?
10 years old.
You're 10 years old. One thing about this kid, I had him as one of my helpers one time, and he had told me that he knew how to work. He had experience in working before.
Good for you, Bobby.
And Bobby got back there, and he not only knew what to do, the other kids were able to kind of follow his lead, but I didn't have to really tell him too much. You know, all I had to do was tell him what needed to be done, and he knew that, you know, how things had to be done. He understood the cleanup afterwards, you know, and he told me that his dad had helped him had took him out, working and taught him how to work. And so I thought that was very special. And so, Bobby, I want to tell you, I commend you for being a young man with a work ethic at that age.
I bet you're glad your dad made you work so hard, aren't you?
Yeah.
And Amari, over here to you, a rising athlete.
What?
Yes, sir. How old are you, Amari?
8.5.
8.5 years old. This kid, he shoots well. He plays football. He plays basketball. He's all around athlete. He gets along real well with all the other kids. He's very respectful. And these kids deserve this opportunity to be able to come on air and talk a little bit about their story. All they really know how to do is tell the truth. And so I think that it's good for kids to be able to voice their opinion. And what better than kids that are actually real good kids?
Well, we found a couple of good young men here, and I guess what we'd like to do is pick their brain and figure out why. Why are you guys doing good and some of your classmates are doing bad? What do you think the difference is?
Their temper.
It's what?
How mad they get.
Temper.
Can I tell you guys a story that happened today?
Sure, let's hear it, Bobby.
So, my friend in my class, during like recess, we were going outside and she punched somebody in the face on purpose, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think that sports and after-school activities and things help keep you out of trouble and
I
help?
mean, this is at school.
I have a story too about recess, and so we were playing soccer, and they were gonna get in a fight about what goal they want, and it was gonna have a fight about black on mix, and I was there to stop it, and luckily we did.
Well, that's good. That's great. So you stopped a fight today. That's worth big rewards.
Why do you think they started fighting?
Because another team wanted this goal, but we wanted this goal, and there was a fight between them.
What do you think causes people to want to fight when there's a disagreement instead of sitting down and talking about it or trying to solve it in another way? Why do you think they just want to jump in and fight? Got any ideas?
I think because it's about money and getting stronger.
You think?
Excuse me, it's about money and what?
Getting stronger.
Money and getting stronger. Okay.
One of the things I hear when we talk about why did you fight with somebody or why did you shoot somebody, why did you have a problem? No respect. You didn't give me any respect. You think that's a big factor too?
Yes.
Somebody calls you a name, instead of walking away, why it's kind of normal to just want to fight.
Somebody will hit them, and then the person who gets hit would tell.
That's a big thing, fighting and then tell it, because then the person who tells is labeled as a snitch, right? So then that's another fight right there in itself, right? Mm-hmm. So now you kids are actually have to deal with, not only the fighting, but the snitching, being labeled as a snitch, your rights of trying to duck and dodge fights. It can be challenging sometimes, would you say?
Yes.
What about you, Bob? Could you put your microphone correctly? There you go. Yes. What about you?
Do you ever get in any arguments and fights, Bobby?
I mean,
Huh?
sometimes, not like fist fights or not physical fights, but maybe arguments.
You know, I'm an old man, and when I notice, things just keep getting worse. You start out with an argument, and then pretty soon you get in a fist fight, and then pretty soon somebody's got a club, and then somebody's got a knife, and it ends up somebody's got a gun, and somebody ends up dead.
Yeah.
Somehow we've got to teach young people, when it starts out as an argument, how to handle that.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to 89.3 KJMC, the heart and soul of the city. And you're listening to the I.M.A.G.E show. And we've got Bobby in the house with us, and we've also got I.M.A.G.E, two amateurs in the house on the I.M.A.G.E show. And we've got Ken Silver back in the house. He's back in the scene on the I.M.A.G.E lean. And we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we will get more in depth on black crime. We'll be back after these messages. The Wilkie House is a nonprofit organization that has been a pillar of Des Moines' black community for over 104 years. The Wilkie House's mission has evolved over the decades, and the current mission is to develop character and esteem in young people through the promotion of academics, social skill building, recreation, and health. It is the ultimate vision of the Wilkie House to assist young people in reaching their highest potential. The Wilkie House operates an after-school and summer program that serves up to 70 youth in kindergarten through 8th grade. This program not only enriches the lives of those youth, but also supports working families by providing critical child care. Sign your child up online at wilkiehouse.org. If you would like to join the Wilkie House team, they are looking for 2 AmeriCorps class assistants. You can find the position description on Indeed.com. The Wilkie House family believes that it takes a village to raise a child, and today they are inviting you to become a part of that village. You can make a donation at wilkiehouse.org or by mailing a check. You can also support Wilkie House operations by renting the Wilkie House gym for your next baby shower or birthday party. Follow the Wilkie House on Facebook, where you will find their Amazon wish list of supplies and equipment, wilkiehouse.org, just above the donation button. Thank you for your support. Now, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely support the Wilkie House because I know that they are doing a lot in the community. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, on the I.M.A.G.E show, 89.3 KJMC, the heart and soul of the city, the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast. Get out there and subscribe on YouTube. Just go to the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast. Don't forget the website at imageforlives.com. And March 12th, Saturday, March 12th, put it on your calendar. It's the I.M.A.G.E Talent Show at the Des Moines Marriott, March 12th, 18 and under. So we will continue to talk more about that as we get closer to the date. And I want to say a special thanks to the men's ministry. The men's ministry of Des Moines has been very kind to not only the I.M.A.G.E program, the I.M.A.G.E show, and my family personally. So Brother Bill, who is leading the way with the men's ministry now in a lot of different ways at the John R. Grubb Y. He does a lot of networking, a lot of politicking as he works out. And he has connected with me and wanted to make a donation to the I.M.A.G.E show. He thought that this show was very important to the community. And he thought that this was very, very vital and that it needed to be out there. He wanted to make sure that this show continued to stay on the air on 89.3 and that people could continue to hear the message that needs to be sent out, whether it be reentry, whether it be giving kids, young kids opportunity, reproduction, evolution, whatever it may be. And so we want to say thank you. And the men's ministry was founded by Marion Williams. And Marion Williams not only founded the program, He has passed on now. Brother Paul Danforth is one of the elders and also co-founders. And Brother Paul has been a blessing to a lot of people. A lot of people. He's been a longtime member at St. Paul Church, and he's always been there for a lot of people. And so I have some of the most respect for Paul. And so I want to say thank you very much, Paul, for what you do. And I will continue to stay in touch with you and check on you and receive a lot of your knowledge that you have. And so I want to just say thank you guys for the roof, my grandmother's roof that was put on there a couple years ago. The roof was caving in and the men's ministry came together and paid for her roof. And so that was a major blessing. So I just want to say thank you for that. And, I pray that God pays you back 1,000 times fold. So Ken, I'd like to say, it's good to have you back in the house with us. I almost said it's bad.
Freudian slip. No, it's a pleasure to be back, and especially when we've got a chance to talk to a couple young men like this. That's for sure. Tell me, guys, how old are the other kids that you hang around with? Are they your age? Are they older?
I hang out with 5th and under.
I hang out with I think at Wilkie House or in school.
Oops. The kids that you're, hang out with
Okay.
in school or after school, associate with?
At school, I think I do 4th graders and 5th graders for recess, and then for Wilkie House, is it kindergarten to 5th, or middle school?
Now, Mari, you're nodding your head or saying something over there. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say I can do a shout out.
Can you do a shout out? Of course. Who would you like to put a shout out to?
I would shout out to my best friend at Wilkie House and
Who's that? What's his name?
Justice, Genesis, and Amir, because they have been my friends for a long time.
All right.
And I'm happy they're all my friends. And Bobby over here, he's been my friend for a long time too. And I'm happy I have these friends.
What grade are you in?
The 4th and 5th.
Well, when you're hanging around the other kids, is it common for them to talk about joining a gang?
Not any kind of that type of game. Do you talk about games about wearing hats? Will it be the hat squad or something? But sometimes we stick out of it and we make a new one.
How about drugs? How common is it for kids your age to talk about drugs?
The people who I hang out with, none of them.
What about you, Bobby?
I mean, yeah, none of my friends talk about that.
What do you want to be when you get out of school? You want to be a professional soccer player?
I'm gonna be a superstar athlete. I think my goal right now is to be in the NFL.
Football. Okay. That could be realistic. That could be very realistic. What about you,
Bobby?
Bobby?
That's what I was gonna say.
That could be very realistic for you as well.
Well, I've done a lot of reading and a lot of research on this. And one of the things they tell me that's very important is for young people to have a goal. That when you get up in the morning, you go to school, you've got a reason to go to school. You've got a reason to go do well. I commend you both on having a goal, something that you want to do in life. And I I think that's a big step in being successful. Let me ask you something else. How influential are your parents?
Mine are very good, and my mom is single, and she's not looking for a man, and I'm lucky I have my mom because my dad doesn't see me that much, and if I didn't have my mom, I would be homeless. But I have my mom, and she takes care of me well.
You love your mom too, don't you?
Yeah, she's like the best thing in the world to me.
You mentioned that you've got several brothers and sisters.
Yes.
You have older brothers and sisters that live with you?
I got one little sister who lives with me, and I got one big brother who lives with me.
Does your big brother help you know what's right and wrong and how to live right?
Yes.
He's doing good?
Because all my brothers are all older than me, and 5 of my sisters are older than me.
Bobby, you got any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters.
Are any of them older than you?
I'm the youngest.
You're the oldest? The
Youngest.
Old man?
He's the youngest.
Oh, you're the youngest.
One of his sisters are in our aftercare program.
Oh. Are your older brothers and sisters, do they help teach you the right and wrong and how to do things?
Yeah.
Good. Good.
And it shows, Ken, at school every day. Bob, he's hands-on with whatever he does,
I think, from what I understand, both of you young men are very lucky that you've got good families, that you've got parents that care about you, want to teach you the right and wrong. You got brothers and sisters to help teach you what's right and wrong. And you've got some goals that you're going to try to strive for as you get older. So, we just wish there was some way to have another 10,000 kids like you in Des Moines. So if you can figure out how to do that, let us know.
I want to tell you, youngsters, thank you very much for coming on the Image Show, and thank you for being respectful. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to another break. When we come back, me and Ken will chop it up a little bit on this issue. But we want to say thank you to Amari and Bobby for coming on the show. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
I'm glad to be on the show. The reason why I met you is so I can learn more about you and be on this TV show.
Good. That's what life's about. We talk about communication skills, how communication runs the nation. And you have to be good with your communication. You have to learn. You have to be respectful. And so you guys have been role models of all that. And so we'll continue to progress and produce more of that at the Wilkie House, the after-school program. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't change that dial. We'll be back. Stay locked and loaded into 89.3 KJMC, the heart and soul of the city. Those of you joining us by YouTube, we want to tell you thank you so much. Continue to push the word out there. Those of you who have been streaming, we want to continue to tell you thank you very much for the support. We're going to go to a message, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. And we're back back, ladies and gentlemen, on the I.M.A.G.E Show. You're locked and loaded into a whole lot of knowledge, understanding, and love. And so we want to remind you, those of you joining us by YouTube, continue to subscribe. 89.3 KJM, KJMC's Heart and Soul of the City, Des Moines, Iowa. Continue to stay locked and loaded. Every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. is the I.M.A.G.E Show. And we've got Ken Silver in the house. Ken, you've got some statistics here. Run it down to us. Tell us what you got for us.
Well, as I said before, we take a look at what's happening around Des Moines, and we've got the highest murder rate that we've had in the city in several years. Unfortunately, a lot of that is teenagers and young kids. We got to take a look at some of the statistics and try to figure out what's causing this and how big is the problem. Well, just give you a couple examples here. Last year, there were 4,700 white people that were killed. There were 6,400 black people. This is in the United States. That was the people that did the killing, okay? Of the murders in the United States last year, 6,400 were by black people, 4,700 were by white people. Of the people that got murdered, 5,700 of them were white people, 7,400 of them were black people. One of the things we've heard about is black on black crime, and that's kind of a misnomer because as we found out, white people are killing white people, black people are killing black people. 70% of the black homicide victims were killed by black people. 65% of the white victims were killed by white people. So it's not just black on black, it's white on white. But as we get to looking at this, our heart goes out to the young people, the teenagers. What are they doing with guns? Why are they running around shooting each other? Why is there all the violence with these young people? And we're trying to come up with some reasons. We just had an enlightening conversation with a couple of young people a little while ago, and they're both doing real well. And I'll tell you what, they're faced with a lot of problems with their school and with their environment and with their classmates. I don't envy any young person trying to grow up today. You know, we've got the gang influence, the peer pressure. Why do kids join gangs? A lot of times it's just for fear. The drugs are predominant in these schools. We hear about young people starting drugs when they're 10, 12 years old. They look around at some of the bad influences and they see guys flashing a lot of money around. They find, oh man, that's pretty easy, especially for a young person. If I get caught, nothing's going to happen to me, and I got a chance to make a lot of bucks. One of the things that the common thread that runs through all of this is poor family relations. Either broken families or families that don't do a good job of teaching the kids right from wrong and don't teach the kids responsibilities. And some of it goes back to society, but you know, you can always put the blame on somebody else. There's way too many single parent families, and unfortunately, most of those single parents are women. And they're trying to raise a family. Maybe they're trying to work too. So how much time do they really have to spend to teach these kids right from wrong, sit down and listen to them and develop a loving relationship? When that happens, it's pretty rare in a lot of instances. So, you know, there's no role models involved. If you're a young man, and that's who seems to be getting into most of the trouble. One of the other things that they've talked about is the pressure from society to teach kids to do the right things. It seems like, you know, society in certain areas does not encourage these young people to do the right thing. It looks the other way, or it tolerates it. Yes. Criticize them for what they're doing.
I second that right there, Ken. Our society now, the young kids, like you know, Amari said, you know, there's another fight there in a conversation when you become a snitch. You know, when a kid does something to you, you can't go up and tell the teacher because you're labeled a snitch. So, their solutions are real limited. And so, yeah, I agree. Society teaches us now to be more violent, would you say?
It definitely does. And as we said before, it just escalates. When I was young, you'd get in fights. And we never dreamed of somebody having a gun. It was always, okay, the worst thing's going to happen to me is I'm going to get beat up. Rare situations, somebody might get stabbed. But guns were out of the question. Murder, homicide with a knife was very, very rare. But what we're looking at, everybody comes up with solutions to the problems, and they want to ignore the fact that it goes back to the family until these people start raising their kids properly as a man and a woman, mom and dad. We're going to have this problem. Otherwise, we've got the government getting involved, doing these long studies, and then coming up with their input on how to fix the problem that the parents caused in the first place. So here's some of the things they're talking about is promote family environment to support healthy development, provide quality education early in life, strengthen their skills, make them proud of what they're doing in school. If a young person goes to school and they're struggling with math or struggling with their writing, they don't want to go to school anymore. They don't want to go to school and have somebody tell them they're not doing well. So,
and Ken, speaking of that, I was just thinking of this. I want to say thank you, because you're not only talking about this stuff, but it comes from your heart and it comes from experience. You're a man that actually does things like this. I mean, you practice what you preach, when I say in this sense, especially what you're saying, because my daughters, when I was in prison, were going through school and having a hard time, and you made sure when they were in a lot of jams that they were okay, and I really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, but the other thing is, their mother did a great job of teaching them the right things to do. They turned out to be really great young women, and I give their mother the credit for that.
Thank you.
And as I say, you got to give a kid something to be proud of. They've got to be connected to caring adults and activities. You can't just come home and have a parent there that's too busy to talk to you, doesn't want to talk to you, or wants to go out and party and come back. The parent that's there has to prove that they want you in the house and to love you. And then a protective community environment. How many of these people, young people, have some place to go to socialize that is a protective environment where they can hang out with their friends without having a lot of bad influences and without getting into trouble? And the other thing is to lessen future risk. In other words, teach these kids to mitigate the problem. When you've got an argument, teach them how to negotiate, how to walk away if necessary. But they've got to learn that violence is not the answer. We haven't been able to figure that out as a country yet, but hopefully we can figure it out with our young people. But I used to give a speech. If you've got two kids, they'll probably fight with each other. And if you get them to quit fighting with each other, they'll probably fight with the neighbor kids. And if you quit fighting with the neighbor kids, they'll fight with the kids in the next school. And then you fight with the kids in the next town. Conflict is inherent, okay? We've had conflict since the beginning of time. We'll probably continue to have conflict, but our young people have to learn how to handle the conflict without violence. And I think it's very important that we do that. There's a lot of strategy involved that the government's come up with as far as solutions, and a lot of money being poured into different programs to try to solve this problem. Unfortunately, none of it has worked very well so far. Just to the opposite, what we found in the last year or 2 years is that when the government decided to back off on the police enforcement, when they decided to back off on keeping people in jail on bail, easing off on some of these, the crime rate went up like crazy. We ended up with a situation in Des Moines. We took the SRO, the school resource officers, out of the schools. And a lot of people promoted that, and the concept was good. Unfortunately, the violence has increased substantially in the schools, and now we've got parents coming in screaming and hollering, let's get them back in there. So, the pendulum's swinging both ways. And we've got to have a certain amount of discipline in our world. And the discipline has got to start in the crib at home. And if we don't have that, we're probably fighting a lost cause. End of my speech.
Are you sure, Ken?
I've lied to you before.
I almost went to sleep. No, I'm just joking. Hey, what you're saying is very valuable, and I fully agree. We want to stop this killing. We want to stop. We want better parents. We need better programs. We need more people who are really going to step up to the plate and actually help. And be a part of the solution. Not just talk about it. And that's one of the things that we've always done at the I.M.A.G.E program is we were hands-on being part of the solution. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm at the Wilkie House, is I'm able to give back to these kids in a way that the I.M.A.G.E program can reach out in some of their talents, communication skills coming across the air, a lot of them, it's going to help them in the future. It helps us. We learn about them. We learn more about you, Ken. I'm glad that you're back with us because, man, you were sick and the good Lord brought you through a whole lot of things. And so it's a blessing to have you back here with us.
Well, it's great to be back. But, our heart has to go out to these young people. And anything we can do to help the parents, help society, to teach them right from wrong and teach them responsibility and give them goals. These two young men that were sitting here earlier in third, fourth grade, they've got goals on what they want to do in life.
That's right. Amari and Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're just going to drift around, then you're going to drift in the wrong direction.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, reminder, March 12th, put it on your calendar. It's the I.M.A.G.E Talent Show, downtown Des Moines, Iowa, Marriott Hotel. It'll start at 7 p.m. It's an 18 and under, all 18 and under talent, and sign-up registration will begin January. So just put that on your calendar, March 12th. Ken, some of these girls that had been in the talent show last year are making millions of dollars. Little Ava, who was originally from Kansas City, she won my talent show last year at the Marriott West Des Moines, and she is now living in Atlanta, Georgia. She's currently on tour. She's signed with someone out there, and she's traveling across the country. I mean, it's just amazing what's going on.
I was very surprised by the amount of talent and the quality of the talent at that talent show. We underestimate what's available around here in the Midwest, and especially with Des Moines, and especially at a young age.
That's right here in Des Moines, Iowa. We got some girls that are at the Des Moines Wilkie House in this after-school program that are going to be in the talent show. They're practicing right now in that Wilkie House gym. After they get off school, they get the big music blasting. Those girls line up in their lines, and they get to dancing and start their routines.
Well, that's what we were talking about. They need a goal. They need something to do to occupy their time, give them something to look forward to. My question that just came to my mind is, what do we do for the young men? How do we get them involved in something like that? they're fired up after school.
Well, I mean, there's a
Sports and so on.
oh yeah, there's basketball. You know, we got the Iowa Wolves tickets. You know, that we are able to give out to a lot of the kids. So, and then you know, there's always, you know, a lot of different events that the boys are always involved in.
Well, I know. Little personal information here. I've got a grandson that's 8 years old and just about the wildest, orneriest thing in the whole world. But, you know, he looks forward to his soccer practice, his soccer games, his basketball practice, his basketball game. Those are the things that teach him some discipline, teach him to pay attention, teach him to work with the other kids instead of getting mad. I mean, there's so much benefit to sports without going out there and beating your head, you know, on a football field or something like that.
That's right. Also, for a lot of the Des Moines community, people who have started nonprofit organizations, I want to tell you and encourage you to continue to stay in the fight. A lot of times you go up against challenges, struggles, and oppositions, and it's hard to see victory at the end of the tunnel. And I want to tell you to continue to stay in the fight, continue to have your events, continue to do whatever it is that you do to nourish your nonprofit organization. And you know, when I was at the Evelyn K. Davis Center, we went through that those different programs. Boot camps was what they were called, and a lot of people started these nonprofit organizations, and then they get out here in the battlefield and it's like it's either sink or swim, you know, and some of them have sunk. And so we want to kind of lift them up and tell them to, hey, you know, keep your head up, stay above water, keep pushing.
Well, I'll tell you, we've talked a lot about the problem tonight.
Yes, we did.
And there's also a lot of government research, a lot of government money into trying to figure out how to solve the problem. Okay?
Sure.
You know, I think it was the Des Moines police chief in an interview said, if we've got a small problem, they tell us to throw a cop at it. If we've got a big problem, they tell us to throw 10 cops at it. And, you know, we found out that's not solving the problems, but we spend a lot of money trying to fix a problem instead of going after the root cause of that problem.
I agree.
And so if we can encourage anybody to help participate in raising these young people properly, if it's parent education, if it's help with parents where they don't have to work so much and they can spend more time at home with their children. Churches are great resources.
Yes, they are.
To teach kids the right way to deal with other people. So, and I know a lot of the churches are doing that. I see buses running around picking up churches or picking up kids to take them to church when their parents don't go to church. And I think we need more of that.
You know, speaking of churches, Ken, do you remember that men's ministry that was downstairs in the basement in St. Paul Church on Saturday morning?
Right.
You know, though that group of guys, that comfort that you felt when you went down there and start listening to that inspiration, you know, those songs without the music, just a bunch of men around a table with Bibles talking about lifting other people up. And I mean, that was amazing. And that went away.
It's a shame that went away. And you know, the bad part about that was it was just old guys like you. What if we could get something like that going for 14, 15, 16
man, that would be powerful.
Young men to come down there on a Saturday morning
my goodness,
sometime and fellowship together.
That would be powerful. You know, a lot of these kids, they want that. A lot of these young kids, even Bobby and Amari, I mean, they're just thought away from making a spark for other kids to follow, you know, that path.
Well, you know, this Amari, Bobby, both, they're talking about getting involved in sports. And if you can be good at sports, if you can excel at something,
Mm-hmm.
you'll bring along other kids with you.
I agree.
They want to be
Yes,
like you.
definitely.
They want to be like the winner.
Most definitely.
If you're a loser,
They don't want to be nowhere around you.
you go find another loser to hang out with. They're kind of on the shirt tails of somebody that's successful. And that's what these gangs, they bet on,
Yeah.
I used to get in trouble. If you're really a tough guy, you don't have to be in a gang. You can handle it yourself. It's
Yes. Yes.
wimps that want to get together with a gang and protect each other.
For all of you out there listening right now, if there's anyone who's joining us by way of the Polk County jails or perhaps Mitchellville, we want to encourage you to continue not to give up. Not to lose faith. We want to encourage you to stay strong. Stand on what's right. Stand on God's word. Whatever it is that you're going through right now, we just want to continue to press the encouragement of positivity and to make sure that we're leaning toward the right sources for our understanding. So. We're about out of time, but we want to say thank you very much for tuning in. Again, those of you joining us by YouTube, we want to say thank you. Continue to subscribe out there. Go to the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast. And then those of you who might be rolling down the street or you're just tuned in to 89.3 KJMC, the heart and soul of the city. We want to remind you every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Don't forget to tune in. On behalf of Ken Silver, Bob Payton, the I.M.A.G.E Show, we want to say love, peace, and motherly hair grease.
Sounds good.
Goodbye.